the most difficult mindset shifts to have as a newer entrepreneur or newer wholesaler is falling in love with the process and not the results. Now, later in this video, you're going to see a live seller call that I had about a week and a half ago that goes extremely poorly in regards to the result, but its exact process is what I want to see out of each and every one of you. What I mean by that is when we look at the closer's formula, we talk about embrace being the buyer. Have that mindset of you are the end buyer. You are investing your hard-earned cash into this piece of real estate. So you need to understand everything before you just send over a contract to the motivated seller. Now, I also talk about the two most important things that you need from a seller is a price and their motivation. Now, when we go into the closer's formula, we say, hey, are you looking to sell? And they say, maybe, anything's for sale. And then we say, well, how much are you asking for it? And they don't want to give us an asking price. And then we say, well, tell me a little bit about what you got going on. And they don't want to open up and say, go do your own due diligence. You're supposed to be the buyer. What does this all tell us? The first three questions that we ask inside the closer's formula, we're not receiving one answer. We don't know if the property's truly for sale. We don't have an asking price. And then when we're asking, what's the reason why you're selling? Tell us a little bit about the property, the condition, the occupancy, the timeline. Why are you looking to sell? How'd you come up with that price? All of these questions, and they won't give it to us. What did we identify? If you're truly embracing that mindset as an end buyer, well, you got to find out you don't need to waste your time on that lead. Kill that one, move on to the next one that's going to actually allow you to speak to someone that needs your support. Now, when you're newer, this feels like you just wasted your money on a lead. Now, depending on the PPO provider, you could request a refund. But realistically, when you look at it, what you identified was you got one no closer to the yes that you need. So during this live seller call, you're going to see that I try to find a connection with a seller. Hey, listen, I don't know anything about the property. I'm not going to go do due diligence when I have the seller, the person that knows more than anyone, the most about this property. You are my due diligence. And that leads to him hanging up on me. Now, I promised you guys you would see this video next Monday. Well, guess what? That next Monday is here. And what I want you to take away from this is not the result, but the process, and really understanding that when we get on the phone, the framework, the skeleton of the closer's formula is verify that they have a property that they want to sell, get an asking price, and then understand their motivation for wanting to sell this property. And if we can truly identify that they are motivated to sell it for a discount, then we continue to move on in the conversation on trying to be their solution. But if it doesn't check those boxes, that's not the seller for us. We are not ever going to be the solution for each and every seller. Now, there's going to be people out there that watch this and say, well, RJ, you could have done so many different things during the seller call to actually try to have a real conversation. I don't want to have a real conversation with this seller. I don't ever plan on calling this man back because I got the answers that I needed. He is not motivated. He does not want to have a conversation. He doesn't want to tell me his asking price. And quite frankly, he doesn't even ask like the property is for sale. So what am I chasing? I want to chase motivated sellers. I do not want to go out and manufacture a deal. I want to go find a deal. And I found absolutely nothing during this seller call. So for those of you that are new and you struggle and you want to ask me, what do I do about these types of seller calls? Fall in love with the process. The process will lead to more results down the road. But what happens here, I don't even think twice about this result. You can see my instantaneous response was to look at the camera right there and say, that's the one. That's the call that I wanted to share with you guys today. So you can see it's not always about getting the signed contract. It's not always about closing the deal. It's about knowing how you are going to respond in these moments, knowing that you feel comfortable having that buyer mentality to look at a seller and say, I need to know what your asking price is. You're the seller. You need to tell me your asking price. You're my due diligence. You know more about the property than anything. I'm not going to chase you. You're going to chase me, or I'm going to move on to the next seller. That is the spirit of the closer's formula. So without further ado, enjoy this very short and non-eventful live seller call. Financial reasons, owner occupied, soon as possible. Absolutely. This is it. Speaking it into existence right now, baby. Here we go. Edward. I like Edwards. Used to be friends with a guy named Edward Moorbach. We got Edward Luna. Hey, is Edward there? Hey, Edward, this is RJ Bates calling about your property there on Mount Nebo Road. Looks like you were looking to sell that property. Is that correct?
According to the last 50 calls I've gotten, yes.
All right, well, let's make that this is the final one. Call me the final boss, all right? I'm going to be the person that buys it from you.
I hear you.
All right, how much you looking to get for it?
You tell me.
I think we're starting to figure out why you spend 50 calls.
Well, I'm not in the business. You are. You ought to know.
Well, you are selling it, right? So
it's available, yes. I don't
right.
have to sell it. I don't need to sell it.
Right. But the way things get sold is, I go into the store, I want to buy something. How much is that? That's $2.50. All right, $2.50. There you go. Boom. I walk out with my bottle of water. So we make it nice and easy.
You understand it's 388 feet of commercial waterfront?
I don't know anything besides the fact that this just came across my desk that you wanted to sell this property. And so I wanted to have a conversation and figure out how much you want for it and what's got going on, why you want to sell, what it is, and see if I can say yes or no.
Well, I think you ought to do a little research and become more familiar with the property you're interested in.
I have no desire to do that because I'm on the phone with the seller. I'm doing my research right now with the person that knows more than anybody out there about it possible. You are my research.
I guess it's not going to work out then. Thank you.
Brother. That's the video. That's how you do it. Yep. Stay tuned for that next Monday. I got to buy another one, though. Can't end on that. That's wild, though. I could not imagine actually being like, I want to sell a piece of real estate, and I'm not going to have a 5-minute conversation. That's crazy to me.